Hello and welcome back once again. I just got back from seeing the new and upcoming movie, The Ugly Dolls. The Ugly Dolls is a film about a bunch of dolls who, as you could have guessed, are not the aesthetic average. Wow, that's a mouthful. I'm going to put that down somewhere. Anyway, so they're not the most, they look different. Not the most average looking dolls, and movie plays on this idea of quote-unquote perfection, which is kind of a kiss-ass fake world of pretending to be perfect when you can't be genuine and have those things that make you individual, make you unique. Sorry, there's a lot of ideas about this tumbling around in my head. There was a lot of great music in it. I noticed the cast was a lot of pop stars. It also had Gabriel Iglesias, who's a comedian who was, you know, the fluffy guy who we all kind of watched in middle school. At least I did. It was a lot of fun to watch because it reminded me of, you know, growing up and how in that life never felt like... I felt like I was in that scenario growing up where, you know, never quite fit in. I was a bit weird, and it seemed everywhere I went, I had a way of standing out. It reminds me of, especially in the context of, you know, YouTube, because I had a YouTube channel, and I would go around and talk about this, and it was an exciting thing for me, and it was, honestly, it was one of the most special things to me growing up, in terms of, like, what I was doing. It's a way to express music and whatnot, and my comedy channel. I've done a whole video on that. But anyway, it was just something really special for me. And nobody got it. And, you know, I had to explain it in a weird way that I just got tired of doing. Especially my first channel, my other channel, The Holy Hatred. I had this comedy sketch. I've explained this before, but I'll do it again. I had this comedy sketch where I basically just acted like I hated everything. And it was like, oh my god, you know, I stepped in a puddle coming home from school. Life is fucking miserable. Like, everything is a piece of shit. I want to take all the puddles and want them to drown, even though that's physically impossible. I'm missing entirely something that doesn't make sense. But, see, I'm going to make it happen. Because that's the way I do life. I do life like no one would ever expect it to happen. So I did shit like that, and it was, you know, to me it was fun. Some of the people, some of my friends thought it was, you know, fucking hilarious. My siblings too, they just thought it was, like, fucking great. And I just remember a couple of people were just, like, really upset and outraged, and it was just like, it kind of just made me feel like I was just, you know, out there, and it made me feel like an individual, but in a bad way. So this movie, I think, kind of drove flashbacks to that. And I think if I had seen it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it would have been just like the most exciting thing in the universe. You know, up there with watching Lilo and Stitch, that type of deal. It would have been just fucking dope. I'd have been all over that shit. But back to the actual movie. It was great. I love the music. It just really... I listen to a lot of music, and so, you know, for something to really hit home like that, it was pretty fucking great. Some of the songs were just really fucking fun. I enjoyed it. And the other big thing I kind of was toying with, which is kind of funny, is that in a way, it also reminded me of the condition, at least my experience of religion, especially with Christianity today. It poked at it a couple of times. It wasn't a main emphasis, but in the beginning there's like a point where they're talking about, you know, the land where children are, and they get their dolls, and they call it like the great beyond, as if it's, you know, heaven or something. And there's a couple of little lines in there that are kind of just like poking at it. Like, one point the one doll sits there and goes, you know, I don't have any evidence. And that was kind of poking, you know, it takes a little jab at the state of religion today. And then if you sort of view the movie through that lens, it's really funny because it's, at least for me in my experience, that's how it feels. We have the saying, or you better put on your Sunday best, and that's a really real thing. You go into church and you put on that smile, and everything's all wonderful, and everything's so great. And then you walk out and you admit to the fact that you're hungover and life's a bitch, and you just can't talk about that in church. So if you view the movie through that lens, it's also kind of funny. I also like the theme of just being genuine, along with being ugly and all that. There's the theme of being transparent and genuine about all your shit. And I thought that was really neat because I value being genuine. I think it's important to be able to just sort of kick back and no filter, at least somewhere in life. I'm usually much of a straight shooter. I like saying what's on my mind, and if I can't do that, life is hell. And so all in all, I think this was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the way it was put together, and just the whole enchilada of the chalupas. It's just fucking great. I enjoyed it. Highly recommend you go check it out. If you got kids, go take the kids. It's beautiful. It's fucking just so fucking grand. And I'm running out of time and battery, so I'm gonna sign off. Peace out. Go play some video games, finish finals, and probably the next time I check in, I'll be a graduate. So, till next time, ciao.